Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
In fact, the success of any team it depends on the credibility and trust, right, and this becomes the leader's very important responsibility, that how he builds the credibility and the trust is there. And once the leader proves his credibility, and then definitely the team members they start trusting that particular leader. I would like to give the example of like the Shri Idharan. And therefore, in that case we have seen that is how he has successfully completed the projects, different projects, and Konkan railway projects, Delhi metro railway projects. So therefore, in that case it is very necessary to understand that is I think this is one of the highly essential part of this success of a leader, and that is building the credibility is there, right. And therefore, we can understand that once the credibility is created, it is forever. So, here we will talk about the trust and then the defining this trust triangle. For research based practices to earn and keep the trust of others, trust diversity and the team performance, the trust equation, credibility and the three components of credibility which is required to develop, and as usual the case study, research papers and the book recommendations with the references. So, the process of building the trust is an interesting one, but it begins with yourself, right. So, therefore, in that case with what I call self trust and with your own credibility, your own trustworthiness, if you think about it, it is hard to establish trust with other if you cannot trust yourself is there. So, in both the dimensions as per the Stephen Covey is concerned, that is the credibility. So, I would like to connect here the credibility with the ownership. If I am taking my own ownership, then definitely in that case I will be able to take the ownership for the others and responsibilities for the others, because I have taken the ownership for that. So, leader is having his own credibility, and similarly that is the whether you have the confidence or not. If you have the confidence, you will be able to develop the trust, because trust is between the two people, and therefore, in that case when the the positional power, that is a leader, if he himself is having the trust, he will be able to develop the trust among his the team members. If he is not able to develop the trust within himself, then definitely in that case it will be very difficult, as it has been mentioned, you cannot trust, if you cannot trust yourself, then forget about that is establishing the trust within the others is concerned. First we will like to see the academic the input, because we have to understand, that is the people keep on talking about, that is the trust and the patience, that is major pillars for this success is concerned. So, exactly what is the trust means? So, here the trust is defined as a willingness to rely on an exchange partner in whom one has confidence, right, and therefore, in that case it is just like a glass, right. So, once the trust is there, and then it is a responsibility of the another person to keep that intact, that particular trust. So, trust is defined in terms of the confident positive expectations. So, therefore, yes, it will be done. So, whenever you are assigning a particular task to your team member, you know that is it will be done, and that is your trust is there. So, that is a positive expectations are there regarding the another's conduct, and therefore, many times we see that is the leaders they are having the fixed team, and they are not going for the leader member exchange, rather than they have the fixed team. The reason is that is about the on the root of this understanding, and that is the leader has a very high trust on that particular team member. So, trust is a particular level of the subjective probability. It is a cognitive matter, right. So, therefore, with which an agent assesses that another agent, a group of agent will perform a particular action is there or not. So, therefore, in that case it is the cognitive ability of the individual is there, and that is why the one person is having the trust with the another person, because of he has developed that cognitive affection, and whenever there is a cognitive affection is there, then definitely there will be the trust is there, and as a result of which the person makes sure that is he will be able to go for this particular understanding. Now, we will talk about that is the how the trust triangle works. So, therefore, in the trust that is the first and foremost and which that is I experience the real you. So, therefore, the authenticity is the first and foremost part. So, therefore, in that case that is why it is always told that is a test and trust. So, because it is the authenticity which is developed with the experiences. So, therefore, in that case if you develop that particular trust that is the authenticity is developed. Now, in the context of the team we will find that is the you give authorize you have a delegation. So, to whom you have a delegation? Because you had a experience of authenticity, and as a result of which you are giving this particular the task or that particular job to that particular person. So, it can almost always be traced back to the breakdown in some of them. To build a trust as a leader, and we need to figure out which driver we wobble on. So, therefore, another the factor which is creating the trust is that is the empathy. That is, I believe you care about me and my success, and therefore, as a result of this empathy, the trust has been developed between the leader and the team members is there. And the third one is there is a logic. So, I know you can do it, your reasoning and the judgment are sound, and therefore, that trust is there. Now, here you see that is whenever we are talking about the logic, authenticity and empathy, then a question will be arise, that is the exactly which dimension that will be having the more upper hand over the others is concerned, and therefore, we have to talk about the 4 research based practices for leaders to master to earn and keep the trust of others. So, this particular research practice of the HBR study that will help us that is the how we can earn and keep the trust. So, be who you say you are, and therefore, in that case that transparency, that honesty is required. So, that is embody your stated values. So, whatever you say, and so there should not be a difference between your deed and what you preach. So, therefore, in that case it is becoming a very important, that is the you are the embody your whatever the values are there, and acknowledge any say do gaps. So, therefore, in that case whatever the you acknowledge then that is yes there are. So, there is no need that is the to give a wrong image, a wrong impression. So, therefore, if any gap is there then acknowledge that yes that is a gap is there, and that is the because this is a continuous process. So, today is the gap will be bridged tomorrow, right. So, there is nothing like to say that is no, there is no gap, right, that will be wrong. So, treat others and their work with dignity, and that is create opportunities for others to shine, be a safe place to fail, balance transparency with the discussions and the build the bridges that unify. It is always important, right, that is whenever you are interacting with others, how do you address them, right, and therefore, giving the opportunity to them. Never claim these opportunities for yourself only. So, everybody wants to get the opportunities. So, give them opportunity and let them learn and do, and therefore, naturally in doing so, because of their inexperience they will fail, and whenever they will fail, then you have to bridge that particular gap, and then develop that particular team member, and as a result of which you will find that is your team is able to perform. So, diversity does not the trust diversity in team performance, when we talk about that, it does not automatically confer advantages in decision making. In fact, if diverse team are not managed actively for inclusion, they can underperform homogeneous ones. We have discussed in the previous session these things, that is the group should have the diversity, and nowadays it is a compulsion to have a diversity, because your manpower is coming from the different culture, different part of the globe, and therefore, in that case the leader should be able to manage actively for the inclusion is concerned. If he will not have the inclusion, dear friends, he will not be a successful leader. So, therefore, that orientation of inclusion will require the acceptance to that diversity is there, and as a result of which those who are having the underperformance, they will come out at the particular level and that will become the homogeneous one. So, the shared knowledge is key in decision making. So, the leader, right, he has to be a good knowledge worker and he should be able to share, and diverse teams by definition start out with the less of it, and therefore, different teams are there, then giving them the right direction for the performance. But if you create conditions of trust that allow diverse team members to bring their unique perspectives and experiences to the table, you can expand the amount of knowledge your team can access. It is a wonderful point, because in that case you will find that is a competency of the leader. So, you bring that unique perspective to on the knowledge table. So, every member those who are working as a team, naturally they are looking forward from the leader to that particular knowledge, and therefore, that when the leader brings that particular knowledge, then definitely in that case your team can access and create an unbeatable the situations, and then therefore, the goals will be achieved. So, the in the diverse teams, a diverse store of knowledge is partly shared, right. In a homogeneous team, a common store of knowledge is fully shared, and in inclusive teams, a diverse store of knowledge is fully shared is there. So, here you see that is in the organizations, many times the leaders they have the false notion, that is the if they will having these inclusive teams, then in that case whatever the homogeneous teams they are having, then that will be more successful as compared to the inclusive team. So, they do not go for the inclusive team, but that is wrong, and therefore, in that case we have to convert that diverse teams with the homogeneous teams, and as a result of which we will be able to create that trust, because now we are having the all the colors of the performance. So, therefore, in that case whenever we are having this the team members coming from the different background, different culture, different ability and skills, and maybe the managerial attitude, then definitely in that case the whatever the only single team is having the one knowledge, one skills, and then therefore, it is always asked this question, there is what type of the team would you like to select. So, that has to be the cross functional team is to be there. When you have the diverse cross functional team full of knowledge, then definitely you will be able to cover the inclusive team is there. So, ultimately then we create the trust equation. What is a trust equation is there? So, that is a credibility, reliability and intimacy is there, right, and when the credibility the sum of the credibility, reliability and intimacy is divided by the self orientation, then we are able to develop that particular trust is there. So, that is the whenever we are talking about the TQ stands for the trust quotient. So, we have already talked about the IQ, EQ, SQ, and now we will talk about the TQ in this particular session, and that is about the trust quotient, and it is it is just like a number of the IQ or EQ that benchmarks your trustworthiness against the 4 variables, and the trust equation uses 4 objective variables to measure the trustworthiness. So, the credibility, reliability and intimacy is there, and but we should not forget that is the sum of the credibility, reliability and intimacy is divided by the self orientation is there, right. So, therefore, in that case whenever we are measuring these the trust quotient, then definitely in that case that is a trustworthiness that minimizes the self orientation and maximizes the CRI, that is the credibility, reliability and the intimacy is there. So, then how to make these higher sum? To make the higher sum, first I would like to take the credibility, has to do with the words we speak. In a sentence we might say, I can trust what she says about intellectual property, she is very credible on the subject is there. and therefore, in that case whenever the leader shares this type of the sentences, the credibility of the person increases. Reliability is there with the actions that if he says he will deliver the product tomorrow, I trust him because he is dependable is there, and therefore, in that case that reliability is developed by these the team members with the leader because of their timely action and the performance of the task which has been given to them. Third one is the intimacy, that is the now you see any task is incomplete unless and until it is not having that particular emotional input, and therefore, I can trust her with that information. She has never violated my confidentiality before, and she would never embarrass me, and that is about that intimacy. And when there is a bondage of intimacy between the leader and the team member is there, then how and when can stop a person for by giving the best results is there. So, therefore, in that case even we are having this credibility, reliability, but it will be incomplete and unless and until there is not the intimacy is there. So, that total score, that is the credibility, reliability and intimacy is there, and then that is division is there by the self orientation. So, it refers to the person's focus, in particular whether the person's focus is primarily on him or herself or on the other person. Now you see many leaders unfortunately feel that they are successful because of their own, but that is not true. They are successful because of their teams, and because any person alone cannot give the results. So, therefore, in that case here the self orientation, right, that has to be tested. So, we might say I cannot trust him on his deal. I do not think he cares enough about me. He is focused on what he gets out of it. So, therefore, in that case definitely that is a more self orientation as compared to the team building is there. I do not trust him. I think he is too concerned about how he is appearing, or he is not really paying the attention is there, and therefore, the leader gives his message that he is not concerned. If he is not concerned about or sensitive, I would like to say rather than concern, that is if leader is not sensitive, then definitely in that case or the member is not sensitive. It is, you see, that is the trustworthiness is required from both the sides. So, therefore, whether the leader or team member is there, and then in that case if they are not having the trust for the other person, then definitely that cannot be given the delivery by this particular team. So, Stephen P. Covey has given this Emma Stephen Covey has given this these 13 speed of the trust 13 behaviors and therefore, in that case it is like you can see, right, it is just like a tree is there, and in the roots you will find that is the how this integrity is developing this particular intent, capabilities and the results is coming out. So, is the essential component that changes the dynamics of a relationship, and he outlines 13 specific elements, right. These are the talk, state, demonstrate respect, create transparency, right wrong, show loyalty. So, that is about the character based is there. Then there is a competency based is there. So, those who are giving the delivery the results, get best, confront reality, clarify expectations and the practicing accountability is there. And then it is based on the character plus competency based both. So, it is about the listen the first, keep commitment and the extended trust is there. Now, we will take the credibility. So, your reputation for being trustworthy is that is the people you see, that is the people are knowing about, that is the how credible you are. So, degree to which the others believe or trust in you. So, credibility is your reputation for being trustworthy. So, therefore, in that case you work with him for to live by the high ethical, corporate and personal values. This is the very important point. So, here we are talking about the high ethical and the corporate and personal values are very important, dear friends. We have talked about the values and the leadership and values and the team building in our earlier sessions. So, therefore, in that case it is important that is the we have to understand that is the creating the personal values. Now, this is the another question arises here, how to develop the values into a person, because if his personal values are not that strong. So, that we have talked about the developing the team and the team effectiveness, where you are finding that team members, those personal values are conflicting with the personal values of the leaders. So, here it is becoming this important in short, that is credibility is a degree to which others believe or trust in you, that is to be developed is there. Now, the first and foremost is, I always keep on saying and interacting with the others, that is the nothing can be compensated with the competency is concerned, and how we define the competencies, right. So, therefore, the first and foremost that is the knowledge and skills for that particular job. If the person is not having that knowledge, if he is not having that skill, then there will be the no competency will be there. So, therefore, this competency is to be focused first. Second is the caring is there, right. So, that this caring attitude that will be giving the you the personal concern with the amongst the team members and the leaders is concerned. And third one is that is the character is there. So, that is the what is the character you are caring. So, therefore, these three, it is just like a very nice analogy has been given here, that is about the three-legged stool, without any one element it is compromised. So, therefore, in that case we will see what is about the competency is there. Now, that knowledge and skills needed to accomplish this business task that get a job done. So, most people will judge your competence based on your track record of success and achievement, right. So, therefore, delivery of the task is very important. If you have delivered and your track record says that is you do your task on time, then definitely in that case you develop that credibility is there. People develop competence through the study, observation and practice, and real world business experiences are there, and therefore, that is making the person competent is there. How you communicate directly affects the perceptions others have of your competence is there. Now, you see that we have talked about the communication and leadership. So, your selection of words, and that will decide about that is how much the leader is concerned with the team members is there. Therefore, in competence in through study, observation and practices, real world business experiences and entire business program, developing competence in a certain business discipline, and therefore, in that case one can be specialized or competent in the one area. So, therefore, it may significant business experience will tell us that is the where the one person is, if you are a novice seeking internship and job related to your discipline will help you develop competence. How you communicate directly affects the perception others have of your competence is there. So, first one is that is a focus on action, and another one is an emphasis on the results is there. Second one is about the caring is there. So, implies the understanding the interest of the others, cultivating a sense of community and demonstrating accountability. So, people distrust individuals who are perceived as unconcerned about the interest of others or disinterested in causes above and beyond themselves are there. So, therefore, this is to be taken care of. You cannot be the disinterested with your team member, right, and therefore, in that case our team member cannot be disinterested with the leader is concerned. So, therefore, but why it is unconcerned, because it is distrust is there. So, once it is having the distrust, then automatically it will come the caring will be there, and therefore, here we will find the moment there is suspicion, like Mahatma Gandhi has once stated, there is suspicion about a person's motives, everything he does becomes tainted. So, therefore, be very careful about this, and all people distrust individuals who are perceived as unconcerned about the interest of the others is there. So, unless and until you are not having the concern for the others interest, you will not be having the any caring attitude towards your team members. So, here it is the it become very important, and interest of the others, a sense of community and demonstrating the accountability is there. So, whenever we are having this type of this sense of community and demonstrating the accountability, then definitely the people will be having the trust amongst the leader. So, what we learn? So, we have to understand the interest of others is very necessary if you want to have a effective team. So, therefore, in that case to gain credibility strongly depends on your ability to show that you care for the needs of others is there, and understanding the others needs, wants, opinion, feelings and aspirations is there. So, as a result of which what is that? It is not an only professional team, rather than it is becoming the community, because you have given a sense of community to the your team. So, our needs are your needs, and that is why the communication. So, it is not me, it is we. So, therefore, your needs are the my needs, and so engenders trust and helps you come up with solutions that achieve the mutual benefits are there. Now, the third one is, that is about the culture of accountability. If I was to foster the culture of accountability is there to give, provide, share provide freedom and provide resources, and be clear is there. So, it is a feeling of the responsibility to stakeholders and duty to other employees and customers are there. So, by placing a rationale for accountability in your communication, you will generate substantial trust and goodwill from the others is concerned. So, how the accountable cultures, what are the characteristics are there? That it improves the performance, greater employee participants and involvement, increased feeling of the job proficiency, a heightened commitment to the work at hand, aided creativity and innovation, leading to higher employee morale and job satisfaction, and deeper employee engagement is there. The role of characters in now the last part is, that is about the credibility is there. So, that these are the 6 pillars of these characters that we are talking about, which has been mentioned earlier. We will take one by one. So, therefore, it is reputation for staying true to commitment made to the stakeholders and adhering to the high moral and ethical values. So, character is actually, it is the basically that is having the collaborative relationship, and when it becoming more important for leaders, increasingly open, transparency, well connected with each other, and therefore, it is here you will find the interdependent workplace is created. Here one more is in creating the trust. The recent research depicted the business executives were asked what the most important determinants of trust, and therefore, you find that is the honesty, and we have talked about this right from the honesty to the works for a reputable company, and we have discussed these all dimensions time to time, which is talking about that is the how this leadership with the shared objective, shared values also. We will like to, we already discussed with the objectives and the values, shared values also, right, and therefore, in that case developing this competency is there. So, these character based traits, which is honesty, ethical behavior, willingness to exchange information, and these are the becoming the top, but we should not forget that is works for a reputable company, and connectedness and experience and intelligence also, it is playing an important role in the case of the determined trust in the individuals. So, dear friends, finally we come to the referometers. So, here it is the case study, that is the trust is to be earned, right, and it is very interesting case study. I am sure you will enjoy this case study, because it is not by saying that trust me and trust me, trust will not be developed. Trust will be developed and trust has to be earned, and I am sure that is the material which we have discussed with you right from the beginning, that you will be able to develop the trust with your team members, and your team members will also have the trust in you. And this is the another very relevant paper, an integrative model of the trust and leadership, and therefore, you will find that is the how this trust plays a very important role in the success of a particular team. This book is the speed of the trust, the one thing that changes everything. So, therefore, you will find that is Stephanie Markowitz, this book with the Rebecca Emeril is really helping us to understand that is the how the trust which either brings or brings down the relationship between the team members is there, right. So, this is all about the references for the above study material, and also for your further studies, and that will help you to understand that is how we can build the trust and make the team effective. Thank you.